Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Jordan and welcome to today's video, which is my December TBR. We're finally here, the final TBR of the year. This one is a little bit interesting because I'm kind of cutting off my reading year after November, and in December I'm looking forward to 2024 books, which is kind of interesting. And I am going to take a second to plug my Patreon here because I talk more in detail about my reading and video plans on Patreon. So first of all, if you're interested in what videos I'll be putting out in December and actually in January, I do already have a behind the scenes video up where I go through my planner, I go through my video plans. In December, what's interesting is that I don't really have any reading vlogs planned for December because I have so much end of the year content I want to make, talking about my favorite books of the year and stuff like that. The only reading vlog that I am planning to do in December is for my January arcs. I've already been approved for a bunch of books in January, which I will talk about in this video because I like to read them a month ahead of time, so they fall into my December TBR. But I've also been approved for a bunch of other NetGalley arcs for a bunch of months into 2024, and I also talk about those on Patreon. So if any of that is of interest to you, just wanted to give that little reminder that I do behind the scenes kind of planning videos on Patreon every month. So if you want to know a little bit more about what I'm planning, you can find it there. But let's talk about the December TBR. So like I mentioned, my focus in December will be on January arcs so that I can stay in that good cycle of reading my advanced copies of books ahead of time. I do have 6 plus kind of a bonus one to talk about. And then if I finish those and still have more time, I do have a few, I guess, kind of bonus books that I will tack on in December if I can. And I'll probably talk about this in like my ranking videos, but as far as like favorites go, I probably won't consider any of these books in my 2023 favorites considerations, especially because these are arcs, so they're books that don't come out until 2024. So if they do happen to become favorites, I'll probably save them for next year. So it's getting a little confusing, but that's a little bit of my reasoning behind some of this. So let's talk about January arcs that I'll be reading. I'm going to go in order of publication date mostly, starting with the first book coming out in January, which is The Heiress by Rachel Hawkins. I requested this book several months ago at this point, and I knew I would be saving it until now to read it. I have read all 3 of Rachel Hawkins' previous thrillers. I really loved one, gave it 5 stars, really did not like one, gave it 1 or 2 stars, and then her most recent was kind of in the middle for me at about 3 stars. So I'm very curious to find out where this one lands. It's a mystery thriller. I don't really know anything about the plot. I can assume it's about some sort of heiress. I don't know to what, and I don't know what she's getting into, but I have high hopes that I can love another Rachel Hawkins book. The second one on my TBR for that video is Only If You're Lucky by Stacey Willingham. This is another highly anticipated release for me. I have read both of Stacey Willingham's previous 2 books. Again, I really enjoyed one and kind of didn't enjoy the other, so this will again be kind of a deciding book by her. I'm sure I'll continue reading whatever she puts out because they are fairly popular, but interested to see if I continue enjoying her books or if I kind of had a one-time fluke and don't really enjoy the rest. Okay, the next one that I was approved for on NetGalley is a little bit of a wild card. It's called Silent Judgment by Zara Crown. I have not seen this book anywhere. I do not know this author, though it looks like they have several books already published. It is a mystery thriller, and I do believe this author is a man of color. And I do like to make a point to seek out diverse mystery thrillers when I can, because it is a very white-centric genre. I want to make space for marginalized authors in my reviews and what I'm picking up so that my ARC reading vlogs are not just one type of mystery thriller and it's not just the most popular names and books coming up. So I'm crossing my fingers that I enjoy this one. It actually has no ratings or reviews on Goodreads yet, so I have no idea what to expect, but I'm gonna give it a chance and hopefully can find a hidden gem here to recommend. Then stepping out of the mystery thriller genre for just a second, my next one is Light of the Fire by Sarah Lynn Brooke. This is, I believe, a historical fiction book. It actually might be more contemporary, but does flash back to, it looks like 20 years prior. It's about these 2 friends who have a past together, have some secrets, I'm not really sure why I requested this one. I think the cover kind of caught my eye and the description reminded me a little bit of like Kristen Hanna maybe. So that's kind of what I'm holding out hope for, is that I love it as much as I have loved Kristen Hanna's books. But yeah, general fiction / historical fiction about two female friends. The description does say it's a heart-rending story about healing from past mistakes. I do like emotional stories, so hopefully I like that one. Then we have 27 Minutes by Ashley Tate. I have not heard of this book or author before, but the cover is giving just quintessential mystery thriller. 27 minutes is intriguing. I'm not sure if that's like the whole amount of time that takes place over the book, or if it's about an event that took 27 minutes. I don't know, but I'm intrigued. I requested it. I was approved, so I will be reading it. And then last but not least, the last book that I have been already approved to read on NetGalley is Come and Get It by Kylie Reed. This is a book I have been waiting for a long time. This is the author of Such a Fun Age, which I read I think a couple years ago at this point, right when it came out. It was a general fiction book about race and social justice. This is finally her newest release after that. I don't know much about what it's about. It looks like it's just general fiction. Let's see, a fresh and provocative story about a residential assistant and her messy entanglement with a professor and 3 unruly students. So it sounds pretty different. It's set on a university. I don't know. I think I would read anything that Kylie Reed writes, but excited to get my hands on this one. And then my last kind of bonus book that I'm putting in this category is not technically an ARC because I got this book through Book of the Month, or at least I ordered it. It hasn't come yet, but it's No One Can Know by Kate Alice Marshall. I believe this is going to be another very popular and highly anticipated book for a lot of people in the mystery thriller genre. It doesn't come out until January, but it was a December Book of the Month pick, so I went ahead and snagged it. And I probably will just plan to read it in December also to be able to get a review out, be part of the hype. So if I do, I'll probably include it in this reading blog. I will just have a physical copy of it instead of an e-copy, but I'm excited to get to it. And then other than that, I don't know what I can promise on the reading front because December is typically a lower volume reading month for me. I think I'm just gonna have some books kind of set aside in case I have time to pick them up. The first one, really, if I don't read it in December, then I may just unhaul it, but it's Holiday Romance by Catherine Walsh. I actually hauled this book last December, didn't end up getting to it. Holiday romances are not really my thing, but I have heard generally good things about this one, so I want to read it. I want it to be my thing. I don't know, I guess this will kind of be my taste test for holiday romances. I don't know what it's about. All I know is that I own it. I've been holding on to it for a full year, so I do want to read it in December if I can. Maybe this will be like an actual Christmas week read. We'll see how it goes. But again, if I don't read it this month, I may never. And then I have 2 books that are going to be part of in-person book club discussions that I have happening in January. So again, if I'm bored in December and finding myself with spare time to be reading books, I do want to get ahead on those books. So the first one is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. This is a book I probably don't need to explain. Most of you probably know what this is, but a general fiction book about 2 writers. One writer like steals the other one's work after she dies or something like that. I've had it on my own TBR for a while and I just haven't gotten around to it yet. So I'm very glad that I have a book club discussion coming up for it that will force me to read it. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna love it. So it's time to finally just bite the bullet and do that. And same for the last book on my TBR here. I don't have a physical copy yet, but I did pick up one from Book of the Month, so it's on its way to me. It is Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis. How have I not read this book yet? I'm not sure. It's very beloved. I've heard great reviews and I've heard a lot of people say things that specifically sound like they're going to resonate with me about this book. Historical fiction about a woman in STEM. This book has recently been adapted to a TV show with Brie Larson that I want to watch, but I want to read the book first. So again, I'm glad that I have a book club discussion happening for it in person. So I have to read it. Long overdue, but I'm still excited for it. So if I have time to squeeze it into December, then I will. If not, it will be happening in January. So that is it. Those are all the books that I have planned for December's TBR. Let me know what you're going to be reading in December. Do you usually take December a little bit easy when it comes to your reading plans, or are you usually scrambling to fit a bunch of last-minute books in for the year? Let me know. I'm feeling good about my general plan and not trying to cram in a bunch of last minute books for 2023 so that I can get started on my end of the year content before reading all these books. But let me know. Otherwise, I don't think I have anything else. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one.